So this is a hearing before the Office of the State Engineer. I'm Teresa Wilhelmsen, Assistant State Engineer over our Appropriations section. To my left is Will Atkin. He is our Regional Engineer out of our Logan office. And Clark Adams is to my right, and he is our Appropriations Specialist that works here in Salt Lake with me. So the application that's before us is change application A 12788, filed on water right 13-3296. The application is filed by Della Ranches, Utah General Partnership. And let me go ahead and get who's here representing the applicant. Let me go ahead and get your names for the record.
Jay and Diane Tanner.
Okay. And then to clarify, we do have listed a protest by the Bureau of Land Management, but I will note that that protest was late, so it is a late protestant, but we do have representatives here for the BLM, and if I could just get your names for the record.
Let's see, is this coming through? I'm Roy Smith. I'm the statewide water rights coordinator for the BLM, and here with me I have...
Good morning, Jim Carcat with the Office of the Solicitor, Department of the Interior.
Thank you. So the application that's before us, change application A2788, and I'm just going to read it into the record. It was filed April 27th of 1983. So this is a fairly old application. At the time, it was filed by Bolise Company, and it proposed to change water that was diverted. It was 0.045 CFS for stock watering year-round from the Governor's Spring in Box Elder County. The location was north 2,400 feet and west 2,000 feet from the southeast corner of Section 10 of 6 North, Range 19 West, and it's the pilot range. They had watering troughs that were located within Sections 11 and 14 of Township 6 North, Range 19 West, and it was supplemental stock watering for 500 cattle and 5,000 sheep. They are proposing to change that full amount of water, the 0.045 cubic feet per second, to still use it from the same point of diversion, and they're proposing to add, in addition to their previous place of use, 2.5 more miles of 1.5-inch plastic pipe to a watering trough. And then it describes in the explanatory where those locations will be. So it is an older application, but I'll go ahead and turn to the applicant to speak in favor of their application at this time. Jay?
Thank you. We are asking to do this to improve our livestock distribution on the range. We have BLM grazing permits, and we also have private property, and we own grazing easements on private property there in the area. Where Governor Spring is located is fairly high on the pilot range, not near the top, but the elevation is fairly high. And so my livestock, we winter in the area from 1st of December until the 1st of April. And our goal in moving, we would move the water to a lower elevation and to help distribute our cattle, and that they would utilize the range better. And so basically that's what we're trying to do. And also, I have purchased this property and the rights a few years ago, and so I purchased Bolise, the original people who applied for the change. I purchased them, and I own their assets now. But the pipeline and troughs were installed, and so they are in place. And I'm sorry, I should have checked to see if it was done, if they had the right applications and approval from the BLM. And I'm not opposed to to looking into that, and if I need to make applications for that, but it's all in place now. And so I think would benefit the state and the area. It would just distribute livestock grazing better so that we do a better job of managing our livestock, and would help the range by spreading out some other areas where the livestock could utilize the water on the range. So thank you.
Okay, let me just see if our regional engineer has any questions for the applicant.
So the pipeline is in place, the troughs are in place, it's in repair, it's in good repair?
As far as I know, it is in good repair. My question is whether there was ever water in the line and in the troughs. I guess the question would be is if the application was made in 1983, and if there was a protest or something then, and so in the time that I've owned the property, we have not had water in the lines or in the trough. So until I turn water in, I don't know 100%, but it was a buried line. It was PVC pipe, so the theory is that it will be in good shape. I would be surprised if it's not functional, but until I test it, I don't know. But the trough and the lines it has been installed.
Right. And this is that spring that we have been on site, and so we're a little bit familiar with the spring, and we've been there, which is a good thing. That's all I have.
When I saw the name of the spring, I was like, hey, we were there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn to Roy.
And so is the state engineer, by the way. So.
Oh, yes. Camp Jones was with us that day, so.
Well, I just appreciate you being there, and that's a fairly remote corner of the state, and so it's nice to know that. I should tell you that I have acquired from the railroad several other water rights in that area, and I am going to work with the BLM to do some work like this, if we can agree on to move water for better livestock distribution in the future. And so this is probably just, as far as I'm concerned, the first of a series of these types of things that I hope to be able to do on the area. And it'll all be on the pilot range.
So are all the troughs on BLM?
Well, this trough is on BLM property, yes. So at this time, current time, yes. In the future, of course, that doesn't make anything to what's happening today. It will I'll work with the BLM and the state school trust lands and private land to determine where would be the best location for the troughs, and then try to acquire the necessary permits and stuff to put the troughs where they will work best. But my theory is, for the most part, they will be on public land and either on BLM or on state school sections. And when I build the troughs, I try to do that in a wildlife-friendly manner, and having the water there would benefit not only the grazers, but would benefit wildlife in the area, because it would provide some additional water resources in the desert.
But the source, the spring itself, is on your own.
Some of it is. Some of it is on. I have some sources that would be on private property. This Governor Spring is not on. It's on public BLM land. Now I own the water. I have. There's a split water right there. The BLM owns water rights, and Della Ranch owns water right on Governor Spring, and so. Going forward, I have a bunch of that type stuff too. I have some on private property, but some of it's on public land that we own the water right. That we have the water right on it.
So Roy, I'm going to go ahead and turn to you. It is a late protest by the BLM, but is there information you feel we should be aware of?
Yes, I believe so. I reviewed the protest that BLM filed back in 1983, and it looks like there were two primary concerns at the time. One is BLM has a diligence claim on Governor's Spring. That's about 100 years senior to the application to appropriate that's the subject of this hearing. And there was concern that there may not be enough water for the proposed additional use. And it also sounded to me like at the time there was a concern that the additional point of use had not been authorized by BLM. But it sounds to me like what happened historically is it's highly likely that it was authorized if the construction proceeded and the trough is in place. So what I propose to do is do a quick investigation with our Salt Lake Field Office range staff and see if the trough and the pipeline to it is properly authorized and if it's functional. And then I can forward that information to you and to the Tanners at the same time and give you a status and, indicate how BLM would like to proceed. If it's not authorized, Mr. and Mrs. Tanner have said that they're willing to, attempt to get that authorized. And so I think the best way forward is just to get some more information to you so that you can know what the status is now as opposed to 35 years ago.
Appreciate that. Do any of us have questions for the BLM at this time? So with that, Mr. and Mrs. Tanner, that's the information that we needed for this application. And thanks, Roy, for coming a little bit early to address this. But we'll go ahead and conclude the water rate hearing at this time. Appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Thank you.